Hello everyone and welcome back to Killer Shrew fans, Killer Toy Reviews, and Happy New Year to you all! Woo! 2022! Congratulations on making it through yet another crazy year on this rock, and to celebrate I wanted to do my usual best of countdown. That being said, a little bit ago I put out a poll asking you guys if I should go ahead with a list even though I'm still waiting on a couple items to arrive, namely some PNSO, Beasts of the Mesozoic, and Nanmu figures, and the majority of you voted that I wait and see if any of those pieces will make the cut, and honestly, I'm okay with that. Looking back on my top 10 of 2020 list, there were a lot of late arrivals that easily would have snuck their way onto that, so waiting really is the best way to give you guys my most honest and comprehensive countdown. That being said, I always like to celebrate the new year with a countdown of some sort, and since I have gotten basically everything from Mattel that I want from their 2021 lineup, I figured this was at least one list I could do now. Plus, it affords me an opportunity to kind of rethink how I traditionally did my top countdown lists. Looking back, I realize I didn't like how I used to do it. Traditionally, I just did a general top 10 featuring everything from Mattel's movie toys to Safari's kid-friendly, affordable scientific models, and even more high-end companies like Nanmu or PNSO, all of which focus on very different markets. With that in mind, it just doesn't seem fair to lump all of these products together and determine a best of the year, as they're all trying to do very different things, and thus deserve to be judged by different criteria. So to keep things fair, I've decided to break my future best of lists into 3 different categories. Today we're going to start with a top 5 Mattel releases, then once the rest of my stuff shows up, I'll do a top 5 pop culture releases, and top 10 more scientific models of the year. Just to try that on for size, I want to do a brief redux to my top 10 of 2020 video. This will let me test run the new system while also giving me a chance to acknowledge figures I hadn't gotten in time for that list. And believe me, there were a lot of them. So for top 5 Mattel figures of 2020, at number 5 we have the Super Colossal Indominus Rex. Big, beautifully sculpted, and pairs wonderfully with their Super Colossal Rex. At number 4 we have the Soundstrike Irritator, well sculpted and with a nice color palette. At the time I think it was one of Mattel's best original offerings. At number 3, the Savage Strike Scutosaurus, easily one of my most anticipated releases from Mattel. This one has a gorgeous sculpt and unique color scheme. The only drawback? The god-awful distribution that Mattel is even yet to rectify with a repaint. The runner-up of the year goes to the Soundstrike Sinoceratops. It took 2 years, but we finally got a screen-accurate Sinoceratops, and it wound up being one of the best things ever released in the price range. And the number 1 Mattel figure of 2020 goes to the Amber Collection Dilophosaurus. This was a no-brainer, as not only is this the best thing to come out of the mismanaged mess that is the Amber Collection, but with its on-point sculpt, solid paint job, great accessories, and fun articulation, a case could definitely be made that it's one of the best things Mattel has ever made, period. And that was my top 5 Mattel releases of 2020. Certainly not their best year, but I do think it was leaps and bounds ahead of Dino Rivals, all things considered. Getting into the top 5 pop culture inspired pieces, coming in at number 5 we have the Rebor Preserved Dissected Compy Oddity. This is just the perfect mix of pop culture, science, and weird. The real cherry on top is the incredible display case that comes with the figure, making it one heck of a conversation piece. Number 4, Nanmu's Injured Ankylosaurus Mace. This is a very well done figure in its own right, but when paired with the Nanmu Indominus Rex, it really reaches a different level of fun. At number 3 we have Nanmu's Stegosaurus Pike. A screen-accurate sculpt and paint job make this a mandatory figure for fans of the Lost World. The number 2 pop culture model of 2020 goes to the W Dragon Giganotosaurus. The rich palette and striking dead eye really make this a standout, and it could almost work as a more scientific model with a little artistic embellishment, making it the best of both worlds in my eyes. And the number 1 best pop culture model of 2020 goes to this same figure that earned this spot last year. It's Nanmu's Tyrannosaurus Rex Alpha. A year later, it's still one of the best pieces in my collection, and definitely one of the best Jurassic Rexes you can get without paying a premium price. It hasn't moved from its place of honor on my desk since I first got it, and I don't know that it ever will. As far as scientific models go, I had to make this list a little longer, seeing as there were just so many great offerings in this department. PNSO came roaring back to life and released a staggering 17 figures towards the end of the year. Safari Ltd had their usual strong and diverse lineup, Wave 1 of Beasts of the Mesozoic Ceratopsian series hit, and even unexpected contenders like Nanmu, W-Dragon, and Rebor released some figures that could easily slot into this scientific category. It was a tough job, but here's my best go at it. Kicking off the list at number 10, it's PNSO's Corythosaurus Caroline. PNSO always does hadrosaurs well, and choosing between Caroline and Audrey was no easy feat in its own regard. I ended up going with Caroline because I do prefer her more naturalistic and striking color scheme and impressive size. The only thing keeping her from rising on the list would be the somewhat wonky proportions. It's better in person, I promise, and the fact that she just cannot stand on her own anymore. Still, it's a wonderful model in its own way. At number 9, we have the Safari Ltd Deinonychus, beautifully floofy and incredibly bird-like with a wonderfully naturalistic palette, making it the quintessential dromaeosaur model for your collection. Like Caroline, its biggest drawback is the poor balance. Coming in just above that figure, we have the Safari Ltd Edmontosaurus. It's big, well sculpted, and I like the paint job. It's also just so nice to see Edmontosaurus finally making a comeback in model form. Number 7 sees the PNSO Miragaia Rosanna, and this figure is just drop-dead gorgeous, thanks in large part to the striking color palette. It might be a little over-sculpted, but it's easy to look past that just for the bold color scheme and adventurous restoration of a very unique stegosaur. At number 6, we have Nanmu Ceratosaurus Scavenger. Yes, Nanmu usually does pop culture models, and even their more quote-unquote accurate stuff is super stylized, but this model is so vastly different from the film design, with enough true Ceratosaurus in there that it can sneak onto this list. Plus, it's just awesome. Getting into the top 5, we have the Beasts of the Mesozoic Zuniceratops. Small but mighty, this figure boasts some of the best posability in my eyes, and if anything, I owe my newfound love of this series to it, so I think it earns its spot on this list. The number 4 spot goes to Bastion, the Apatosaurus by Nanmu. Like Scavenger, there's enough real-world touchstones for this one to qualify for the list. Plus, an impressive size and wonderful color scheme make it impossible to ignore. Coming in at number 3, it's PNSO's 2020 Spinosaurus Essien. It might not be the first updated Spinosaurus on the market, but it's still one of my favorite available so far. And the runner-up of the year goes to PNSO's Tyrannosaurus Rex Wilson. I don't want to hear about oversized scales and teeth. This is still a turning point in T-Rex depiction in model form. And for that, I'll always love this beautiful fatty. And the number 1 best scientific model of 2020, beating out even Wilson, goes to the W-Dragon Giraffe Titan. A massive size, solid build, beautiful and accurate sculpt, and great paint job make this an undeniable standout, not just for this year, but for every year in recent memory. It's so good it makes me sad to think we'll never see anything like it from W-Dragon ever again. Phew! So there you go, the top 20 of 2020, including top 5 Mattel toys, top 5 pop culture models, and top 10 scientific figures. Narrowing these down was quite tough. Even with everything that went wrong last year, a lot of stuff went right with dinosaur model production, and we wound up getting an absolute ton of incredible offerings. I know choosing 10 was nigh impossible just for these scientific offerings alone, but just for the heck of it, I'll speed round a top 10 of all the lists combined, and I'll leave some honorable mentions for each in the comments section below. At number 10, we have the Mattel Soundstrike Sinoceratops. Number 9, Nanmu Stegosaurus Pike. Number 8, the Safari Ltd Edmontosaurus. Number 7, the W-Dragon Giganotosaurus. Number 6, the Amber Collection Dilophosaurus. Number 5, the Beasts of the Mesozoic Zuniceratops. At number 4, the Nanmu Apatosaurus. Number 3, PNSO's Tyrannosaurus Rex Wilson. At number 2, Nanmu's Tyrannosaurus Rex Alpha. And the number 1 figure in any category from 2020 goes to the W-Dragon Giraffe Titan. So there you go, the top 20 and top 10 of the year from 2020. I think I'll do the same thing once all of the stuff from 2021 gets here. But now that we got that redux out of the way, let's wind the clock forward a year and take a look at Mattel's best of 2021. With the delay in Dominion's release, they really made the best of a bad situation this year by taking the opportunity to expand the Legacy line with long-awaited playsets and characters, while also delivering on more Amber Collection humans and species, all on top of giving us the Dino Escape line in lieu of the film tie-in toys. All of this marked a step in the right direction for the company, bringing back long-awaited additions to their Dinosaur offerings, including the human figures, capture gear, vehicles, and even real-feel rubber in some cases. It was a pretty exhaustive and diverse showcase from them this past year, and in my opinion, I'd say it was their best since Fallen Kingdom, especially seeing as they very well could have been left scrambling to put it together when the date of the film was moved. I'll start with a couple of quick honorable mentions. First up, gotta acknowledge the 3 Legacy playsets we got this year with Nedry's Escape, the Comic-Con exclusive Ray Arnold's Final Moments, and of course the T-Rex Escape playset. It was great to see characters like Nedry and Tim getting a wide release and in their most iconic scenes at that. Meanwhile, a Ray Arnold figure with a detachable arm is awesome, although it seems silly to make up a whole scene just to justify that release as a Comic-Con exclusive. But the main reason I'm not including these as official selections is that I like to focus on the prehistoric creatures with these countdowns, and unfortunately, the Upteenth repack of the EC Rex and this stupid crouching raptor aren't going to cut it. As for Nedry, I suppose if the releases of the Attack Pack Dilophosaurus figures had been reversed, with this one coming out in the older Legacy Collection set instead of the one we got, then maybe it could have squeaked onto the top 5. As is, this repaint feels like a step down, which of course it's going to be, because that old Dilo was perfect. I'll also give a nod to the Amber Collection JP3 Male Raptor. It's arguably the best thing to come from the Amber Collection since the Dilophosaurus, but at the end of the day, it is just another raptor, and I don't want to give them too much credit for that. Getting into the top 5, kicking off the list, we have the Legacy Collection Apatosaurus. It's great to have another massive sauropod from Mattel, and when it comes to the detail work and paint, it seems we even got some improvement over the previous much celebrated Brachiosaurus. That being said, it still feels like a missed opportunity on Mattel's part to do something different and perhaps improve upon shortcomings of the Brack. Unfortunately though, it's just much the same in terms of articulation and build, and some areas even devolved, namely with proportions concerning the unnecessarily oversized feet and stubby tail. Still, its massive size and screen-accurate head sculpt is enough to earn it a spot on the list. The number 4 spot goes to the Mattel Mega Destroyers Pentaceratops. This was a very awesome addition to the lineup this year. Not only did it continue the trend of giving this price bracket a piece of much-awaited capture gear, but it also brought back real-feel rubber skin with a soft rubber head. Not only that, but as far as Mattel original sculpts go, it's pretty freaking good looking. I will say, hate the feet and arms. Those feel a bit too roided up to be taken seriously and probably could have been handled a bit better. That, and I am missing just a little bit of paint on it overall. Still, it's a very welcome addition to the line and an awesome one at that. Coming in at number 3, maybe a little personal bias creeping in here, but it's the Super Colossal Carnotaurus. Did we need another Super Colossal figure? Heck no. That being said, I think a case could be made for this being the best one yet from the line. No oversized clown feet, incredible levels of detail and paint, and the same massive size that people can't seem to get enough of make this a winner in my book. If you know me, you know I love the Action Attack Carnotaurus, and this is almost everything great about that figure, massively scaled up. And the runner-up for the best Mattel figure from 2021 goes to the Roar Attack Kentrosaurus Pierce. This was a late addition to the line this year, coming out to tie into Camp Cretaceous Season 4, but it was certainly a good one, with a nice screen-accurate sculpt and paint job, and a fun feature with some good sounds. Only nitpick would be the poor QC on the eyes, and trust me, I've checked a lot of them. That and the lack of paint down the tail is disappointing, but then again, what else is new? And now for the number 1 Mattel Dinosaur release. I'm not sure if this is going to be an unpopular opinion, but it's the Roar Attack Tyrannosaurus. I loved seeing these guys in Camp Cretaceous, and I think the toys Mattel put out were equally dope. The sculpt is great, I love the head-throwing action feature and sounds, and the paint job is quite lovely too. It suffers the usual issues like a distinct lack of paint on the tail, and the slider button is pretty ugly, I'm not gonna lie, but I'm okay posing it so that we just don't see that. Thank God for no screw holes, am I right? And that's my top 5 picks from Mattel for the year of 2021. It wasn't easy picking just 5, and you could probably rearrange any of those choices in any order you would like, and I most likely wouldn't disagree, as I like them all a good deal. And with that, another year of Killer Shrew Fans Killer Toy Reviews comes to a close. I want to thank you all once again for all the support you've given me throughout 2021. Even if I was pretty inconsistent with putting out new videos, you still showed me a lot of love that kept me going, and despite 2021 feeling pretty innocuous in comparison to 2020, it was still a crazy year in its own way. So it was nice to know that I still had this hobby and community to turn to when I needed some fun. So for a final time, thank you all, and congratulations on making it through another turbulent year. Let's raise our glasses to 2022 and everything it has to offer, dinosaur related or otherwise. At least we know we won't have to face it alone.